Howdy, folks. Nick Tuckert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. I hope you're all doing real well tonight. And I hope my mic is working because usually I get a little more audio. That's fine. If I have to redo this intro, I'll do it again. The Historical Fencing Guild is, of course, brought to you by The Simple Sword and The Fighting Axe, both available on Amazon through www.amazon.com/author/Nicholas Tuckert. Oh, great to hear you, Frog G. Hi, everybody. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to go over. I have something to introduce to you. Actually, I have two somethings to introduce to you in the realm of new toys, because I was visited by one of our Patreon members, Steve Clausen, who, incidentally, happy birthday, Steve. I'm working on something, but I've had some medical issues that have delayed me. So you'll get to know about that in a bit. Steve is an amazing person, and he's really helped keep the show going. Now, my voice has been cutting in and out all day. I am actually rather under the weather, but we're gonna hope the antibiotics do what they're supposed to do. And I'm just going to keep pulling through because, folks, that's what we do for you, my viewers, and because I have some of the best commenters and the best Patreon anybody could ever ask for now. If you are watching this... No, Johnny, because of you, we are definitely... We're supporting Team Darkside in the month of October, helping the supernaturally inclined get a little better at what they do. So last week, at the request of Johnny Cage, we kind of went over ways, tips, and tricks for your vampiric selves to outlast the wannabe Van Helsings that are trying to chase you down. And we came up with some solid advice, and I know at least one group that's terrified of what's coming, and they don't even understand how horrific it is. So yes, don't worry. Just as the amazing Frog Knight 3.0 looms to once again croak and lay waste, my man Frog G up there. Johnny Cage, Gentleman Vampire, is going to reemerge a little different, a little less subtle, perhaps a little more gifted. And why? Because he's talking to a wonderful, wonderful lycanthrope by the name of Earl Harbinger. Yes, croak havoc and let slip the frogs of war. That is golden. Frog G, I needed that in my soul tonight. Hi, Foxy, and hi, Thesis. I'm not skipping you guys. I'm just going through. But so a little later in the broadcast, I will be getting into helping those of the terminally furry live a little longer in this Halloween season. Now, before we get into that, I have to talk about a toy. And while I'm here, I have to bring up on my sideline the Etsy shop so I can make sure everything is that's coming. That is definitely, like, laser pointers and Shay are totally en route. So let's talk shop, guys. And before we get into some stuff I'm looking into, and certainly into the fun supernatural, let's talk about, I have a birthday present. It took all the way till Tuesday, Monday. No, last weekend. I was visited by Steve Clausen in person. He was doing some business up in town, and he brought me this. Now, this is going to harken back to a lot of my older viewers who know of some creative bouts back in the day where my response to Pensalot was to use Woodsman's axe as a fighting style. And I was fighting with the trainer, which has slid just out of reach somewhere, so I'll worry about that later. But I I longed for a full-length axe trainer, and brother, did Steve deliver today. Oh, wait, let's see. I'm waiting for Che. Oh, I'm sorry you've got work nights. Those suck. Well, Froggy, I'm glad you're here, and I hope I can help brighten your evening before you hop along to work. But this is by a company called Vulpes Training through Etsy. This is very much an independent shop, and this is his. Oh shoot, which is it? I want to. Let me just this. I'll just bring it up. Yes, it is the 30-inch Viking bearded axe trainer. And I'm going to tell you, I love this thing. I wish to hit my friends about the head and shoulders and thighs with this beautiful axe. Now I am a bit of a aficionado to axes. I mean, buy my book. But this is a full length. Oh, it is just absolutely magnificent. I haven't tried it against anything. I haven't gotten to play with it much other than working it. But even with my gloves, even with the cane, with the cord I'm working around, I can still make this go. It hooks, it crooks, it slashes, bashes, makes French fries and julienne. I absolutely love that. Oh yeah, see that I'm glad, Johnny. This is a great axe. This is a great length for an axe, and it's I used and trained with axes before I ever got a hold of a sword. Even before I had a wooden bokken, I was training in the operation of woodsman's axes. So this is just a thing of beauty, and I can't wait to let it loose. It is, like I said, it is a small American company called Vulpes Training. They're available through Etsy, and right now this is on sale at 10% off for 58.50. But oh, love the length. This no, seriously though, this is a great length. I'm going to do a full view on a full review on this when I'm up to running around outside and really getting it to where I can swing. Right now, I'm kind of fighting an infection, and it's not pleasant. So we're working through it because I am not one to take a day off from my beloved viewers. Now, if my footage appears slightly grainy, hold on, let me do that and see if that doesn't help. Uh, we do have a storm rolling in, so let's go. Hey, hey, hey. There's nothing wrong with people being in the gutter. These things happen. As long as you're having fun and being civil, what's consensual is all that matters, folks. So, you know, um, edge alignment with an axe can be very tricky because very often they have rounded hilts. Now, one thing I really like about this, like the where is that thing? It should be on my table, but I have so many weapons and trainers at any given point. Wait, I have to set that up. Where is that axe? I Most people lose axes in their studies, right? I mean, this is a normal thing, right? An axe is. Wait, here we go. Ah, let me excavate it. It's right by the wall turkeys. Okay, so this is my normal hand axe. You guys have seen this a million times. Well, theoretically, when you're fighting with your friends, you're consenting. You're consenting adults. It's fine. Just to show you in profile the distance and similarity. Now, one thing I like. Hey, no, I appreciate you being Have here. You want to be a little shadier? Hit me up on hi, Michaela. But one thing, because this has this very nice oblong and rounded grip, it doesn't rotate, and the stylistic gripping is actually very comfortable and remarkably resilient. Like I said, I've been playing with this since Steve got it. I haven't wanted to put it down, and I really really like this guy. So I will be playing with this more. It does have a couple fit and finish things, like some of the corners still have very light, the kind of plastic burring you take off by dragging your fingernail. And hello, 24 Eyes. I'm always glad to see you. Um, every time I read your name, I get this angelic vibe, like, be not afraid. Everything has eyes. Anyway, uh, but yeah, so I'm really looking forward to getting in and just rocking that. Yeah, as Foxy says, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, ring the bell. That helps me fight the YouTube algorithm, and I appreciate you guys doing that. So, wow, I am so glad my beverage has a lid. That was nearly catastrophic. Uh, it's just superbly balanced. It flows well. Um, in my youth, I spent a lot of time splitting wood. I spent a lot of time dropping trees and processing them for firewood. That's how I made money. So I'm actually very persnickety when it comes to how an axe should handle. And this just handles fluidly. It's 30 inches. Again, you see that long handle. This is that sweet length where a weapon feels very natural, very comfortable, and it just goes. If it were a little longer and a little sturdier on this axis, I would actually consider using it as a cane. It is amazing. So, this is definitely, I will be keeping an eye on Vulpes training. Yes, they are a small competitor to our friends at Purple Heart Armory, but I believe, this might be shocking, but fair competition makes a better product for the consumer. And I'm all about the consumer getting the best product, the consumer being, in this case, you and me. So that is really up, that's coming down the pipe. I can't wait to play with that. Now, I will let you guys know that I am currently in the market for a combat saber. I've had enough people talk to me and ask me questions about you know how do I feel about lightsabers. You know what? I agree. No, Johnny. Johnny Cage says Grandma hates the taste of food cooked in the gas stove, so we chop lumber oftenly. My parents set the thermostat at 62, but we were expect to keep the temperature at 68 all winter long by running the fires and the stoves. I firmly believe when it comes to like barbecuing, as an American, uh, that when people ask me about charcoal versus propane, I see charcoal as perhaps a necessary evil. Wood should be cooked over fire. You light a fallen piece of tree on fire, and you get fire, and then it is good. And fire is good. I like fire, good. Uh, but it adds to the taste, it adds to the flavor. There are few things better than cooking on like wrought iron pan, wrought iron skillet over an open fire. This is glorious. Now it'll be a while before I can enjoy such things again, but that doesn't mean I don't plan to. Whew. Ah, sorry, side effect of what I'm dealing with. Now, I tend to like to train with items relatively close to things I would prefer to use. That's why this length of axe is so nice. The head is a bit ornate, but a 30-inch axe handle is very similar to what you'd find as they call them boys axes sometimes, a youth axe where it's a little shorter than a full length and sometimes you'll find ones this short, but they're very nice to carry when you're doing your bushcrafty stuff. You know, you're out in the woods. If I know I'm going out and I'm going to spend some time in the woods, I would rather sacrifice the extra weight and have a nice full-sized axe for doing axe applications, rather than uh, um, a little hand axe or even a light hiking hatchet. I Oh, Foxy, Foxy, you were wise in the ways of the Nick. See, this has. Let me see if I can give you an angle on that. That just hits right there. Oh, that's well asked, Foxy. That ah, that axe is beautiful. Oh, that as it has the more subtle. But that just the beard just gets in for those scritches. This is beautiful. Oh yeah, Foxy's indeed wise. And yes, I do. Someday I will do a full ranking on my favorite back scratchers. Now the spike on this for the purpose of back scratching is still, pretty much the gold standard. And that's why if you look, I've actually worn the paint off from back scratching. But but yes, this is a beautiful trainer, and I like a simple fluid weapon. Ironically, this is where Meyer as a sword style bothers me, because as good as it is with a sword, and it has its place. Just because I don't necessarily like it doesn't mean I don't respect it. It is so much better to keep winding circles and use that in terms of axe use. So this is just, and that's what I love. It's balanced hand and a half. Absolutely, she has excellent taste in mates. Bam. This is a great weapon. This is a great concept. It's a great length. Now, I may in my fairly near future acquire a proper focus, which is a walking stick with an axe head. And that's something I'm eyeballing. It is a little different, but boy, is that cool. I'm actually debating getting something like my mouse hawk and just making a modified version the for that purpose. Hey, Jody McPhee, from the desk of Small Press Publisher. Hi. Well, right now I got distracted by talking about these back scratching benefits of battle axes. But yeah, guys, this is going to be great for the next practice I have. Stef Mari is already lusting after swinging this, and we'll see. Given other situations, she may get to play with it a bit. But you don't be afraid to train in things you actually use. So if you carry around a knife of a specific size, you want a trainer that works like that. If you find an axe that's going to be compatible to something, oh, absolutely. Let me take these guys. Okay, this is one of my larger tomahawks. My mouse hawk is out in the living room. Uh, this is a multi-tool. Don't ever be fooled into thinking a small axe is some or a hatchet is a monotasker, because it's really not. I can split with this. I can strike matches with this. I can do I can do food prep with it. I can use it like an ulu. Yes, this is obviously a thrown weapon. Hey, yeah, see, you use the back of the live steel, though. You don't use the edge. But, or if you have a nice leather sheath, which I need to make some axe sheaths, which will be probably a winter project. This one's still a little big for me. I prefer my mouse axe, but that's out in the living room because I was tinkering with the hilt. But yeah, bushcrafting is a elegant and important art. Fish scaling. Yes, 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 yes. Well, you're talking to the guy who Oh, sorry. I took this off at the doctor's office, and right over the cable. Anyway, and got myself. That was the most convoluted way to do it, but my neck knife, folks. There is not a waking moment that I don't have my neck knife on me. It This is a way of life. I food prep, I do crafts. Obviously it has defensive application. It glows in the dark. It holds my, hey, I'm diabetic, so check my blood sugar if I'm hit by something. This is literally a life-saving, valuable. I probably use this 20 times a day. I'm always cutting something, opening something, making something, fixing something. And it's a very simple tool. High grip retention, sharp, slicey blade, hollow ground edge. Yep. And since it's worn, 1 second here. Around my neck, because of the way my hands are, I can't always easily retrieve objects from my pockets comfortably. And with the exception of my multi-tool, which is out in the living room, like opening a non-assist open knife is very difficult. Well, then he needs to be careful and eat. Uh, yeah, fish scaling. But you could do that. You could do that with an axe, and then I can. Especially one nice thing with the tomahawk, and not this one per se, because I've deliberately set the head tight. But you can pull the tomahawk head off to make carving and knife work easier. Um, I Depending on the quality, any knife can do the job. Foxy, I'm going to try to stay out of the gutter for a moment. Anyway, but yes, um, it. I tend to favor small knives because I don't need a big knife most of the time to accomplish almost anything I'm going to do. Now, if I know I'm going to spend some time in the woods and I need a new sheath for this, I have some leather work things. I need to find a Tandy's. But this is my old pencil sharpener. This is an Ontario uh, pilot Air Force style K-bar assault knife. Wow. Okay. Yes. Eat. Be good. We need you around, guys. And wasn't it just your birthday too, thesis? Because I have a backlog of art that I have to do. When I got uh I got sick and the back of my head swelled up with like golf ball knots. It's not good. But oh no, you missed the early gutter. But yes. So, and thank you. So when I'm going to the woods, I carry something that I can baton. Yeah, there I have stuff in the works. I am sorry I'm running behind. I don't normally, but there's enough going on that even that I'm comfortable saying it's better that I be careful. Something like Priscilla the Shroud minute short machete, great for going through bushcraft heavy grade work, but still, if I'm doing fine work, I want a small knife, and there are a lot to do to make this function as a larger weapon because lash it to a stick to make it into a functional spear. Um, the batoning this would be silly, but there's no reason I couldn't. Uh, so don't be afraid of small knives, but everybody, if there's one thing, and you're in America and you can legally do so, always have a knife on you. Let me show you another really nice little work knife for a second. Here we go. This was given to me. I went at my first gun show. I was talking about obscure weapons, and I actually need to polish that just a little bit. Let me see. How bad? Oh, just a bit. Let's see if I can. Oh well. This is a Bar Raz Damascus knife. Now, as you can see, it's got a little problem from being in the sheath too long. I need to re-oil and re-clean it up, which is going to be a matter of minutes. But this is a great utility knife size. It still is uh very possessive grip, very solid. I can cook with this, I can craft with this. Obviously it's Damascus, so it has, you know, a really nice pattern that's authentic. This isn't just like acid etched on there. This is a really nice solid knife. And I have a couple others of the of work style. Oh, you sent you the link via PM of the knife you have. I assume you mean Facebook. So, yes, you do. Now, see, okay. Oh, that's an elegant little knife. That's going to do the job just fine for most of any application you encounter. Now, one thing you want, do not ever let any weapon you carry make you feel like Billy Badass. Okay? I don't care how nice it is, and that is a very, very nice. Oh, I bet that sassy is all fuck. Pardon my French. I am so sorry. Uh, but that is a very narrow, very slicey. I wouldn't put that through rigorous use, but it's far better than most. There are, if you're looking for more executive style, classy knives, we could talk about that. God, Blades HQ is a wonderful resource. I don't necessarily say buy from them, but researching and then cross referencing prices. Always, guys, one thing that I've been taught ever since I was a very small little Nick is never ever ever pay for list price. That is like, you know, paying list price for something is a dire emergency. But that is a very nice yep. That is a nice little knife. It looks aggressive. I'm a little worried about the construction. I'm a little worried about it rolling. But poop hits the fan both defensively and offensively. That's a lifesaver. I do I'm funny on the subject of concealed knives. I prefer um if you're going to carry a knife, I think it's better to carry a knife because the concealment, if you ever have to defend yourself later, can look premeditated and it gets juries and law enforcers to look at you a little funny. Now, I know this gets people to look at me funny, but it's also, it glows in the dark, and I've talked about it everywhere. I wear it openly, and as you can see, like I was saying, my hands don't find grab. And what I found was I was both losing pocket knives out of my pocket, either through it wore a hole in the bottom of my pocket and fell out my leg, or just hopped out with the clip. This because I have some neuropathy, so I can't always feel that. So I needed a knife where I could always get to it and I could always deploy it for, I'm thinking tool use, okay? I really don't want to use this in a defensive situation for a few reasons because it's a it's actually, I have found, a better deterrent in the sheath than it is once I've drawn it. Okay? That's a really cool knife. That is a really cool pen though. And that's a decent price. I'll have to look up the reviews. How is 10 point? Yep. You gotta be careful with that 2.13-inch blade because some places have knife blade length limitations depending on the state. Uh, I'm seeing some good reviews. So, oh yeah. Now see that what that is that is a great thing to leave in your. Whoops, drop the tomahawk. Oh well. leave in your like office. You have your pens, and then you have that. Now, I'm also, and I wasn't planning to talk about this, so I don't have a lot of them, but having, if you understand how a Kobuton works, as a basically think of it as a base hammer. There are a lot of pretty things you can do and pressure points and control tricks. We're not going to worry about that. But as a force multiplier to a hammer, to your fist, any blunt instrument can be devastating. Awesome. I envy you your pizza. I had tacos though, so I can't complain. Uh, yay meatless. But um, they sell Sharkies, which are reinforced tactical Sharpies. They should sell a lot of tactical pens. Getting one that doesn't look like a tactical pen but is a reinforced steel barrel pen, not a bad idea if you're thinking that. Me, I like the oversized dollar store markers. They're about this long. And again, I don't have any in here because, well, I don't really need concealed weapons in my study. I have so many things that are sharp and stabby and slashy. Like I can relax in here. I have enough weaponry in here. I can relax. But yep, never. Well, see, that's my policy. And this, this is literally the last thing that comes off my body when I go to sleep, and it's the first thing that goes on. When I take my breathing mask off, I hang it on the hook. The hook next to it, I take off, and I grab my neck knife, and it's on. This secures my glasses onto the hook, and I put my glasses on because I'm nearsighted, but not so nearsighted I can't function in my own bedroom. So we have that. I also have something else I want to talk about of the concealed weapons. This is, I believe, the wood hilted, wood handled traveler's sword cane by Cold Steel. Now, this is a very budget sword cane. I like it. I like it because it's a bit longer than many and it's single edged. Now, why I like a single. Howdy, Cindy. Hi, Cindy. We love you. Um, the oh, I have been known to walk around with my lawn sword, that being the katana machete thing that Cold Steel put out a while ago that I absolutely love. But check your states and realize you either definitely want to establish ahead why you have it, okay? Because if something goes wrong, you don't want to be telling the officers, yeah, well, it kind of looks like you went looking for a fight if you're walking around with a sword. Now, I have a disability. I am very noted. I need to do the process to get the sticker at this point. But so a sword cane is something, it's legal in my state and I can carry it. I am careful because I don't choose to be a concealed carry permit holder nor concealed carry a firearm. Not because I am against it, but because I have tremors and I have nerve damage. I have found that under stress, my accuracy could be suspect. So I have to think very carefully on such matters. There may come a day as my hands improve, um, where I will be doing something. I may consider changing that policy. But because of that, I avoid trouble, and I really suggest you do. You want to always be looking for what negates all the threats. So yes, the threat of immediate violence can be quickly and efficiently negated by the application of deadly force. I will never doubt that. Using a gun, knife, chainsaw, Buick, whatever, if you are threatened and you end the person's ability to do bad stuff to you, you have escaped that threat. But in escaping that threat, you are creating a new threat of legal entanglement, financial harm, imprisonment, possibly having an altercation with law officers who I support. As long as they follow their rules, I support them. Oh yeah, yeah. A Buick is a wonderful, wonderful means of conflict resolution. Now, personally, and see that's the other problem. Handguns can be it for me to carry. I have to have something I can afford to carry and afford to feed. And by that I mean take the firearm and go to the range consistently, because I am not going to carry a firearm as without intimately being acquainted with it. And for me, I would take that to be a couple thousand rounds minimum, you know, just to familiarize myself again with firearms. With the wrist damage and hand damage, I am not a gun person. I can operate them marginally well. Um, I am old enough to be of the generation that sees marksmanship as a valid hobby. So, as long as my eyes aren't too bothersome, I can make them go. This channel isn't about them, so I try to skirt that subject. But at the end of the day, I ask you, if I have this cane, okay, this is an ancient cane I started for a friend. He passed. I have had the heart to finish it for myself. And realizing it's been 15, 20 years, I may just have to sit down and do it. But this is a solid, stout piece of, I want to say, oak. It might be hickory, but it smells like oak. With what I've done on this channel and this functioning like a sword trainer, I can bludgeon my way through most instances without having to kill somebody. And I would rather go to great lengths not to have to use fatal uh, levels of force. Because I know you got to go through the defense. You don't, you know, I don't want the legal issues. I don't want the criminal issues. I don't want the financial issues, and I don't want the spiritual issues. And do I realize that means I am making a conscious choice that could be more dangerous for myself? Absolutely. But that's when I'm out and about. The rules are very different in a person's home, and I'll leave it at that. But out and about, I would far rather use situational awareness, pay attention to what's going on. Nothing. Okay. One, awesome. Awesome, awesome. Uh yeah, I'm with you. As a rule, I don't like handguns. I certainly don't usually like semi-automatics. I can make them go. I can make them go with moderate proficiency in short to medium ranges, but I don't like them. And as my hands have degraded to where working a slide on some firearms may be difficult, that's where I feel. Now, I am very much happier with something like a short carbine, which is a long gun. Iron sights, please. I don't really like a lot of the complex sighting systems. I prefer to shoot a gun with iron sights so that I have to learn how it works rather than trying to get it to work how I work. Yes, I know. Again, lack of this. I prefer to trade uh, high levels of precision for instinctual comfort. I want to be able to bring whatever I'm using online, do the job, and put it away. But these again, guys. Well, you know what? Uh, I can run a parallel. Uh, Jody McPhee is an artist. He usually uses machinima kind of stuff, but he is an artist. I am an artist. Let's see. Several of the people in my feed Lord knows Johnny Cage is an artist. I'm almost ashamed being in the same umbrella that as the talent that man has. Please follow him on Twitter. But that being said, now I can draw with a high-end Copic marker and have results. I can also draw with a cheap Sharpie. I can also draw with a dollar store whatever. As my dad would say, it's the mechanic, not the wrench. But it's easier to do some stuff with the right wrench. So that's kind of how I feel about it. And a lot of it, just like art, is picking the tools that fit you. So just like, I mean, I've spent hours talking about making sure that your sword style and your sword equipment fits your body, it fits your attitude, and it fits your situation. So whatever becomes a loadout, like if we were to pull loadout, there's no loadout that unless I'm in a courthouse, and see that's where you run into the hazard of something like that concealed knife. You can get in real trouble if you forget and bring it into a courthouse. Now, if I bring a standard cane into a courthouse because I'm gimpy, I'm not going to get into as much trouble. So it's better to understand how the art of applying one of these goes. I haven't been on an airplane in the last 30 years, 35 years, somewhere in there. So I have no idea about trying to maneuver. And there's nothing wrong. Now, see, I am comfortable with longbows, short bows, crossbows, sling bows. Uh, Recurves, I actually quite like a low to medium weight recurve is just fun. Compounds, these are good things. I can make a sling go. I can throw knives, shuriken, axes, spikes, uh, blunt objects. My dwarven arrow is over there, being a 1 or 2 pound little short-handled sledge. But when you're looking at weaponry, and if we're going to do this, we should talk about this. Fit it to where you need. Todd's. I know what you're talking about. Todd's got those gorgeous crossbows, and he has I lost the name for the screw cock. Basically this assassin's one-handed crossbow. Oh my gosh, is that a lovely, lovely implement? Now, and exactly a letter opener, and again, it's situational, and unfortunately, because we're in America, and a bit of a spoiler, Mr. McPhee is African American. You got to be extra careful. It's just the way it is, and it's terrible that that's true. But part of tactical awareness is being honest with yourself. I can't work a plan that involves me sprinting for any length of time or doing parkour anymore. There was a time in my life where I could, where escape plans involved, okay, I'm going to run over, kick that guy, go over the chair, up over the desk, and slide across and go out that door over there, or right out that window. Those options are no longer open to me due to my physical condition, and it may worsen in the near future. Now, if that changes, my policy on other things might change too. It's about meeting your situation honestly. And because, guys, the only way to improve, and I'm sorry, I know normally I have my head thing and my hair is an absolute disaster because of the medicines, but we have to look over, and it's funny because I'm going to move along for just a bit into some of the stuff I want to talk about that's more fun. When I look at a lot of folks here, it's funny, it's not a 50-50 split most of the time anymore. Know me from either there are folks who know me as the Historical Fencing Guild. They've known me. We get guildies like Steve Clausen, Stef Mari, who is actual guildie, like in person. Joe and Trelana Bachman. These folks know me personally as a sword master and other things. a lot of the folks I've had the pleasure to meet through a man named Brian K. Morris, who you all should follow if you want to either be better creators or find the best independent creators out there. So, absolutely, the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, which I'm a proud member of, and my high tech sign, we'll worry about that later. Look them up on YouTube because you'll see folks like from the desk of a small press publisher. Jody, I love your stuff, man, but boy, do I scramble your name, and I apologize for that. Uh, and the amazing Cindy Kep at www.ckoepp.com. These folks are incredible, and we all work together. We plug each other's stuff because it's quality. I won't go, hey, I know this person buy their things unless I believe you should buy their things. Has that offended people? Yep. Am I okay with that? Yep. Because that's how I roll, folks. But the other batch of people know me from Red Valkyrie Presents Dice Names and Dudes, my Wednesday night program that I'm part of. It's not my show, where I am their merciful, friendly GM for an ongoing RPG campaign. Now, speaking of RPGs, I not long ago finished my end of the creation of a RPG for Jody McPhee. And because I make these things, because I nuts and bolts them, I take, and it's kind of funny, I have to take it seriously. I have to take a real world mentality in an RPG setting. And I'm good at this because I've done that for friends. I've had friends who it started out real simple. We were some out to eat dinner and we were talking and something happened and I believe it was at a Texas corral and there was a loud bang and I looked down and three of the members of the table had unconsciously grabbed the steak knife because it was closest to look. One of them's hand had gone towards something concealed and a couple of them were dumbfounded by this exchange. So what I did is I created a modern campaign that hey, I'm looking forward to it. Joe, you know I want to see your work. It's just things have been nutty. Eventually, I'll be releasing the world based on what I'm talking about through either Amazon or my other company, depending on Luke Stone's health. But and our prayers go out to Luke Stone and his family. He's long battling a long, ugly fight with COVID, and he's been in ICU for like 2 months now, almost. It's staggering. That's why I take it seriously. But my point, getting back in, I take my knowledge. It's just like watching sword fight movies, going, eek. I mean, hold on. The Last Jedi, folks. Rise of Skywalker. Oh my God. But whew, that fight scene in the throne room, folks. It hurt me. It hurt my soul. Exactly. Thesis says, I've been in situations where something bad happens and my hand will reach for a sword that isn't there. Now, I love watching when something goes bang and not watching the thing that's going bang, but the people around me, because that tells me a lot about who and what I'm dealing with, where their hands go, how they react. This is great intel. And it's interesting when you see a sword guy like I love like Ido guys. Ido guys are great because even if their primary hand isn't going for the draw, you watch and their offhand will curl and the thumb will pop. Yeah, oh I after back when I was SCA for days after any given medieval event, I would be uncomfortable that I didn't have a sword on my hip. I they you know I petition, but they don't like to let me carry swords around, so that's why I'm so happy having canes that are either very sturdy or have pointy things in them. But if we're gonna guys, if we're gonna do that, and if you're running an RPG, what I was doing for them was I did what isekai is a very popular anime term, but I would do the through the portal campaign where, okay, everybody with whatever's in your pockets right now has been sucked through the portal and you're now in the woods. And I'd throw zombies at them or something, but encourage them to think their way through situations. And it became a great mental exercise and a fun game system. So I made a loose system around it, and then I made another system that I'd say spiritual successor. I learned a lot designing those games. Well, you feel like a piece of you is missing. I totally get it. I get it, Thesis. A lot of the gun guys, I've known some gun guys who can't. They can't function unless they've got. I've been out west. I've known some folks who can't really function if they don't have big iron on their hip. Yeah, that's a Marty Robbins reference. I'll stand by it. But when we're talking firearms or knives or anything, it's about the mental preparedness and mental flexibility, which is why I love running games. RPGs are fun, they're wonderful social art exercises, but they're very educational because they teach you to think, if you're playing them smart, how to work through situations. They are scenarios, and it flexes your brain a bit. I think that's why I don't like min-maxers, because they're using the rules to offset the situation when they should be using their creativity to offset the situation. Uh, Now, last week, I was posed a question by our good friend Johnny Cage of how can a vampire in game get better? Now, he's referring to an NPC that I designed for him, very tongue in cheek for my game. But I thought about it and I gave what I feel was a fairly good, completely unexpected, like I didn't prep it because I didn't know it was coming, response. Now that I did that, I thought about how many people I know who, either in game or affectionately or hang out among the terminally furry. I'm talking about lycanthropes, folks, our werewolf and companions, and or wear other things, which we might get into. How can somebody who's playing a werewolf or being the werewolf villain do it better? How to be a better werewolf? Well, first we have to lay some ground rules. So we're going to get into this because this was requested. People seem to be enjoying it as part of, it is Spooktober. No, this isn't my normal content, guys. Don't get anything in a twist. This is a little tongue in cheek and I hope you enjoy it. But say you are a werewolf. Okay. Your character, you are a werewolf. How do you deal with it? Being a werewolf, first off, is very much what requires support. Because depending on the kind of werewolf you are, uh, will depend on how you act. So let's lay some groundwork. Ooh, Cindy, I can't wait to hear about that. I love that. That doesn't surprise me, Thesis. And you are not like if John Miner were here, which he'll probably pop up. He's a werebear. Oh. But the uh the thing with being a werewolf, first off, is you have two modes of operation, usually, wherein for 3 days out of the month, you are a ravenous, slavering beast who wants to consume everything. Let's stop and look into that first off. Are you? Everyone thinks a werewolf shifts, they become this primal animal, they destroy everything. But are they? Because riddle me this. An animal that is hungry misbehaves. Okay? An animal that is bored misbehaves. As a pet owner, as somebody who's dealt with a lot of dogs, an animal that's lonely misbehaves. So let's go. Let's go. You're a werewolf. And you've been fortunate enough to either have enough time in the month, whatever, to secure a place that you're not going to escape. How do you do it? The Well, see, that's where it gets interesting. Do you see? How you track as a werewolf really depends on your the system you're in, but it also depends on, do you give yourself time to adjust? Because if somebody goes, I'm a werewolf, I black out, but the stories are always like, well, werewolves attack the people they most love. Well, then that means there's a guiding influence. And if it's not possession, it's just a basal, Hulk kind of thing. Everybody does the same thing. I've got a locked room, chains. I'm going to put myself in a stone room and lock myself in for the 3 days, and then I'll come out exhausted, shredded clothes, having destroyed everything. Oh, well, hey, have you thought about maybe, I don't know, carb loading before you shift? Because the energy has to come from somewhere. So lock yourself up in your Jeep and hope for the best. Just out of curiosity, Feline, would that Jeep be unofficially known as Roscoe? I'm just wondering. Nice blue Jeep, a little on the worn down side. Anyhow, duct tape fixes everything. If not, don't worry. If so, just give me a sign that you know of what I refer. But if you, even if you're an animal, you still have base animal intellect and base animal traits. It was blue. Feline, you are clearly an individual of culture, and I appreciate it. Uh, well said, Thesis. Thesis says people assume we are people masquerading as animals. Our base instincts take over, and we just rage. In truth, we're all animals masquerading as people. We like and just show up better than most. Well, here's the thing: leave food out. Why does the werewolf tear out of its enclosure and go ransacking? There's no bedding. It's always a bare concrete room with like a drain. Lock it up. Right, now we're getting somewhere, Joe. If you're locking yourself down, set bedding up. Think like, okay, there's going to be a big wolf in here. What does a wolf want? Get some industrial Kongs full of peanut butter. Get some meat. Maybe put a TV on. Yeah, have your if you have a SO who can properly handle it, feed you. Mellow scents, comfy rug. Make the critter comfortable, and maybe you can kind of come to an understanding between states and find yourself out. Now, if you are of the more alphic werewolf where you retain your intellect, well, obviously, Foxy, you already have. You have your personality. Okay. We need to look into figuring some things out. Because, let's be honest, as long as there are wolves, there will be those who hunt wolves. And especially if you get out and eat the sheep. So if you kill folks, it's done. They're coming for you. The Argents of the world. You know. I'd be careful with the big dog. Hi, Steve. Happy birthday, Steve. We love you. Everybody loves the axe. Uh, you for that you might want to set up cameras, have introduce the dog uh, on the other side of a cage so that they can mate and be comfortable with the possibility of bestiality in the whole whatever happens from A to B. But Okay, so you've worked through that, and let's just say you've kind of tamed it. You can retain your knowledge on the plus side. On the bad side, either you're choosing to be offensive or it's necessary. Now we're looking more towards the somewhere between the dog soldiers to the uh you'll werewolfen. Yeah, now see if you've got it tamed and that can be processed. If you are the demon wolf variety where you just turn into blood slathering, uh, but yes, Sydney, wear a pair. We will get into other species because other species have other requirements. But now we're dealing with the werewolf as a tactical entity. Werewolves and guns. Sliding scale on how much control you have. This might shock you, but I have small hands, right? And when I use a firearm, I use firearms that are sized for my small hands. Now, they're usually heavier than most people think. Exactly. People don't want to think about, okay, well, these are the same kind of people who just have dogs and chain them out and just give them food outside and never play with them, never let them in. That's how they treat their werewolves. Really, it's cruelty to lycanthropes, and I'm not for it. But so even if it's really truly feral, you can work through that. Next, you got to check some things. You need to know. You noisy cricket. No, no. See, the problem with the noisy cricket is there's too much barrel rise. You anyway, and you're not wrong though. Oh God, Steve is a beautiful, wonderful person, and he let me go through a whole box of very expensive 44 caliber ammunition in a lovely revolver at one point. Anyway, but yeah, theoretically, assuming you can treat it. Now, you're the werewolf, you've got a support network, you found your styles. Yeah, I went there. Teen Wolf for Life. My wife got me into the show. Great, great, great lycanthropy show. Scott's a moron, but the show's great. Uh, Peter's a far better werewolf. I said it, and Duke's better than both of them. But moving on, hi Derek. Uh, if you have tactical problems and you can retain yourself, why not make guns big enough to fit your paws? First off, if guns are available, I'm pro gun. You're like, yes, oh my gosh, I would love to see some hunters. Oh, there's the werewolf. They're shooting the werewolf racks a modified 1888 Winchester, big loop, boom. That's a thing of awesomeness. You know, don't be afraid to scale that. That being said, if you can control yourself and you have someone oh yeah, I love the Teen Wolf series. It there's an arc where they did styles wrong that cheesed me off, but that's okay. My wife loved the series. She had me watch it. Great characters. Anyway, I could go off on that and geek. I've never been one afraid to let my geek flag fly, but so armor your werewolf. Well, I can regenerate in silver. Yeah, they know that. Okay. The folks coming after you are going to expect werewolf shenanigans, which at scariest is doing the predator, the alien thing, the whole I need an object. Let me see. What was that? Something went by, and then okay. So you have that. Werewolves fight blades, fangs, and claws. That doesn't mean they can't have metal extended claws. If that's what's natural, amplify. Werewolves really need gnomish support. They upgraded, protect. Take your werewolf and don't be afraid to put some shades of Brotherhood of the Wolf. That's right. Whatever that critter was heavily armed. The dogs that fought bears and things back in the day, the hunting parties would have armor and armor to dissuade boars on the dogs. Don't be afraid to. Oh, I am Iron Wolf. I'm all for that. I am. Oh, right here, right here. And yeah. Is this bordering on anthro art? Dare I say furry? Yep. Am I cool with that? Yep. But that poor feline. Oh. Oh, oh shoot. We'll have to talk. Yes. Yes. Well, yeah, see, I believe in armoring dogs too. If you're going to go into a conflict with animal companions, armor your animal companions. Yes, it's harder with birds. Sorry, Cindy. It can be done, but it starts to be a trade-off. But now, if exactly Brotherhood of the Wolf, great movie. If you are in control of your faculties, if you can smart Hulk your werewolf, smart Hulk it. Now, let's look at what's in your toolkit. Blades, fangs, and claws. Sorry, I'm pulling old Hero Clicks rules out, but that's okay. Uh, it's an animal thing. We understand. Yeah, at least give a bird a nice helmet. Um, they actually I've seen talon overlays that give sharper, stronger talons to prevent a breakage. Use your brain on this one. Uh, exactly. So it takes reasoning, but and we're gonna keep to the werewolf just a little longer. But don't fight like a big animal. Fight like an animal man. Okay. Be shady. Set traps. Don't engage in situations of benefit to you. Exactly. So you probably could at least make a light breastplate kind of scenario. Make sure it's no, well, okay, it would be funny for some dogs because I would love to see like pugs in inappropriate Viking armor. That would be awesome. But that being said, getting back to it, I would love to see a werewolf just once lay out bear traps for its hunters. Yeah. A lot of times with the werewolf, are you bipedal, quadrupedal? Are you switching back and forth, dogman style? One, they suck. Big, big. Love the aesthetic of the dogman, right? Beautiful cryptid, beautiful creature. Don't ever want to deal with anything like that again. They are in my no box. Okay, no, dogmen are problems. Much like the wild hunt. But that's the thing. Don't be afraid to upgrade because silver is not really nice as an ammunition. It's a little lighter. It doesn't travel like lead does. So you can kind of a little bit of Kevlar action on a werewolf could do a lot of good. Exactly. Exactly, Johnny. Because you haven't forgot about this. But so yes, it does. It does deform weirdly. But so you want to think that you want your tactics again. You can track them because you can set track them. That means find out who they are and disengage. Keep the heck out of sight one full moon. Be sure, but know they're set. Then, non-full moon, maybe you're one of those who can switch when they want to if you're alphic enough to deal with stuff. You find them later and you think like a person is they happen. Well, see, a lot of werewolves retain hands. And that's why it's the whole, depending on the hand to paw structure, depends on the weaponry. So without paw, with just paws, there's no grip retention. So that's going to be, you want to make artificial Wolverine overclaws, okay? Ooh. Unearthed Arcana for Spelljammer coming. Oh, wow. Well, we are coming barreling real fast on the 50 year of D&D and the 10 year of 5th, so we'll probably be getting some new stuff. So, hi, Darkmoon. / Elric / the incredibly polite gentleman I'm honored to have on my channel. So, fight them. Let's go back. Werewolf pack structure. The pack is your friend if they're competent. Now you're going to have 3 basic levels of pack-like entity that you encounter as a werewolf. The Omega, the drone, possibly even the native normal wolves who just hang around you because your she-wolf might be the biggest bee in the area, okay? Looking at you, Randy. But so you treat them with respect. They're family, they're not pets. Don't mess with that. Next, you have cohorts. These are other folks like you who may be lycanthropic. Train. Train in human form, train in werewolf form, train in hybrid form if you got it. You have to, because your instincts are so powerful, you have to temper that. So, and here's the thing, even if you are training bodily, this is like why I always wish somebody teach Superman martial arts. Is it necessary? Nah. Yes. No, Thesis, you're absolutely right. That's hell. But you want, because when you're looking at martial art and you've done it, like when we look at these videos, I'm not thinking I need to parry out and then come in. I need to sidestep, throw a shot here. I'm not thinking that. It's body memory. It's muscle memory. The lizard brain. It's like, I know how to do this. Well, yeah, but I love it in a fat werewolf. That happened too. Yes, exactly. That is exactly the kind of weapon I was talking about. What you want. Okay. Werewolf paw. Yay. This is a paw-like shape. Okay. If we're going vaguely quadruped, there would be toe beans, right? Okay. There'd be claws here, and here. Maybe they're fairly long. Now, if our good friend the gnome, or the halfling gnome hybrid who comes wandering in, does something crudely like this to our werewolf, preferably with appropriate edge alignment, but that's kind of hard. Now it's better. So let's say you do martial arts. You're learning, you learn how to adjust, how to throw. Don't train in power arts. You got all the power you need. Train in avoidance, fluid arts. You want judo. You want tai chi when it's done right. Yes, absolutely. Uh, that way, your muscle memory when you're fighting, especially if you're fighting another werewolf. Give me just a second. Oh, stupid. Anyway, stupid meds. Yeah, absolutely. Flat process, a flat motion. If you are together and you have this, yes, absolutely. And train as an assassin. Build up your stats so that when you switch forms, grab a term instead of thinking lycanthrope, think wild shape. Your muscle memory is still going to do things, and once it settles, where's Yo? Yes. Hold on. Just because it's being discussed, I will just J Talbane. Anyway, but not puppy girls. Oh, Steve, I would train puppy girls, cat girls, short stack goblins. Hell, I'd train driders if they were civil. Because that's what I do. I help people. If they come to me and they're civil, I help them. But yeah, exactly. You want oh god. Is it the Eternal Dragon's Revenge? Where they all had the like magnetic weapons, so the guy would do things like coat himself with oil so they couldn't get a grab. Uh Kitsune says, what? Anyway, oh yeah, I understand, Foxy. Trust me. I am intimately acquainted with fox girls. But my past is long and shady, and my wife is interesting. But so don't engage. Train in pack tactics. None of this. I hate people who don't melee train. Oh, we've got numbers on them. Let's make a ring around them and send one person at a time. F that. You ever see dogs corner and attack someone? You got folks coming in from the front. They're fake charging to get you looking while another comes behind and hamstrings you. Oh, I love cat girls too. I am totally fine with cat girls. Cat girls are absolutely happy. But so with a werewolf is you have the option of a pack. If you have the option of a pack, you will find that is a wonderful place to be, especially if you're in tough. Now, exactly, gang attack is, but it has to be done right. You can refine it. If you train people to move with each other and time it, you can take what you're strong at and get stronger. That's why I absolutely love that mentality. Remember, I will always be a melee guy first, a tournament guy like third or fourth. Like, thanks, I'll just have a sandwich instead. I guess I'll go fight an attorney. So when you're a werewolf, you need to cultivate your pack. If you are not in charge, you need to be real careful because being a stray when there are dangerous packs around is not something you want, but you don't want to be anybody's five-letter word for female dog either. Uh, so you have to, it's as much more social. The vampire can operate, and most vampires prefer to operate solo. It's almost always better. They're very much solitary hunters. But werewolves are not. Now let's look at something else. What if it's a lot different lycanthrope? Every culture in the world, in their folklore, has some type of geographically appropriate lycanthrope. but it's going to be geographically appropriate. So you're going to find the African jackal men, the jaguaros. Oh, nothing wrong with any of that. I'm all for all of that. Sword and sorcerer, yeah, yeah. Um, but you know that's going to affect because the animal is part of you now. So you have to look at what the animal does well. It gets real interesting when you deal with transformative aquatic lycanthropes. Now the whole world's a lot shadier. Or stranger ones, like when you get from non-mammalian, it changes, and that's going to affect. You want to understand the instincts and nature of whatever you're tied to testing. Anyway, uh, to see its strengths and weaknesses. You want to downplay the weaknesses, you want to upplay the strengths, and you want to beware the tropes. Absolutely. Were turtles. That's trying to think. Have I seen were turtles? But it would make sense. I mean, you don't get a lot of oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, you're still here, so I'm glad you're right. Of prey animal lycanthropes. That's something usually lycanthropy is tied to a predator. Now, some people get confused thinking that a Wendigo, because very often they have uh, a skull head, a skull head. Yeah, they have a skull head, a deer head, skull head, and antlers. The problem is people forget that deer are actually opportunistic uh, predators certain times of the year. Deer will kill small rodents, snakes. They will uh, feed on things. Well, yeah, because we are predators. Absolutely. We are omnivores. That's terrifying. As a concept, humanity is terrifying. And at some point, I'm going to go talking about how humanity is basically space orcs, and we are horrific. Not only are we OP, but we're terrifying. But sure, Dark Moon, you're, but yeah, you got to figure out your. At times, it feels that way, but the were hyenas fascinate. Hyenas are interesting, very strange creatures. Their hierarchy is different. The we'll say gender norms are a little different too. Hyenas are a strange and fascinating bunch, as are the subsects of wolves. Now, like a werewolf is very different than a were-coyote. And a were-coyote isn't always a coyote. It could be coyote who's waiting, and that's terrifying. Yeah, that were-stags happen, but a wendigo is not that. A wendigo is the spirit of uh, it's tied to the taboo of cannibalism. It is the spirit of endless hunger. It is greed and maleficence. So this is a whole different thing. Um, I the right yeah, hyenas can be spooky. Canids uh are more problematic in numbers. Like a stray dog is not usually a problem. Two stray dogs, you have a problem. Three stray dogs, you have a threat. I love dogs. But where I grew up, we had a major coyote problem. And we also had people who come out of the city. I can't keep my dog. Well, I'll let him be loose and free in the woods. And he'll be happy and chase rabbits. Most of them die. Don't do that. A few of them get picked up by the coyote packs and they crossbreed, and you get genetic throwbacks, which are larger, smarter, and have no fear of humans. This is problematic. And hyenas are closer than cats and dogs. Um, uh, yeah. Well, see, okay, let's what when you take lycanthropy and you apply it to an animal, you take human nature, animal instincts. What's a crocodile? Crocodile. technically cold-blooded. That's going to give you, likely they're going to be cooler. They're going to be distant, less feeling. The crocodile tear sling is a terrifying bit of biology, and it's funny, but they're also ambush predators. So a croc isn't just usually going to come running after you when you go by. Now you go jogging by a pursuit predator, and they're going to come after you. Running is always a bad idea. That's definitely cane games. But your crocs are very much wait by the water, sneak, hit, take, go. They're very assassin minded. Whereas a feline is a bit assassin, a bit, they're different. They stalk, they take their time, then they drop. Well, just what I'm getting into. Werecats of any point. This is your jaguar. Well, okay. We're going to exclude lions, so we're going to go the solitary cats. Werecats are more likely to be minded for the instinct of a cat, which is a stealth stalking hunter, opportunistic, with a bit of a vindictive streak. They're curious and they are almost torturous when they choose to be. I love my cats. When I had them, I'm very allergic, and that's how I found out. So if you're a werecat, you have to watch that your curiosity and your tendency to play with your food a bit doesn't get you in trouble, because that'll cross over to the personality in life, because that's what they don't tell you when they talk about lycanthropy. It bleeds over. So like werewolves, when they're not being all furry, tend to be hierarchical. They tend to be very dominance oriented. They may be subs, they may be they may be, they're very bottom or very top. The display it. Um, if they are confident, very one up to the edge of the cage. So you're going to see a lot of that. Um, with a cat, again, a cat is naturally aloof. So somebody who becomes a werecat, it will affect their personality. So that's gonna go make them more likely to pull back a lot of times, maybe be more self-oriented. Now, why does all this matter, Nick? I thought you were talking about the tactics of being one. You have to know your trope. Okay. Knowing your trope is because what is the biggest threat to a lycanthrope? You're like, oh, the hunter's getting me, or a bigger lycanthrope, or the worm, depending on where you are, something like that. Nah. The biggest threat to the lycanthrope, bingo, bonus points for feline, is being found out. So, how does a were hunter figure out who's a what? I mean, obviously, you wait till the full moon and you incapacitate or kill whatever it is, and they either turn back to normal, or you catch them and you see them turn back, and now you have a where whatever in a box. Great. Remember how I said that animal instinct? Know your trope and then actively oppose it. This is artifice, and this is being disingenuous, which I don't go for. But if you're in a game, especially you're playing a game where I'm a werewolf and you're playing it, okay, I got to work through. I'll get to those. Um, so if you're a werecat, you want to make sure you're extra friendly if that's who you were before. If you become a reptile like a lycanthrope, you need to make sure you lean in that, because that's how people are going to reach out to you. That's where they're going to connect. So and so changed. They used to be so nice and so outgoing, and now they're almost nocturnal. They hang out, very studious, but quick to flee a situation, or and if not, they're real grabby. Oh wait, maybe your friend is a were cuttlefish. Uh, Getting to a were raven. I want to talk about were ravens because the other thing you have to run about is where does existing mythology overlap the concept of lycanthropy? Well, no, and see that's feline. Somebody who's transformed permanently into something is different altogether. That's a animal with the person's mentality. Basically, Animal Eye, a wonderful comic book and novel and games, and pretty much the next big franchise by Cindy Kemp. Look her stuff up. But ravens. Oh, these are wonderful. A were raven, it has some things going for it. A were raven is just as smart, if not smarter, and just as curious as a cat. But this might not sound, you'll have to bear with me. A cat is more uh, individual item based. They want to understand that. Ravens, as a mentality, want to understand the connections. So they're very sharp. A were raven, speech impediment for days. A were raven is very sociological output. They want to see who's connected to what. They're watching everything and they're sharing it with their community. Okay. So they learn something and it gets broadcast rapidly to those closest to it. Maintaining that connection is very, very important. Yes, cats, that randomness of cats would definitely the compulsive nature of a cat. That's why cat girls can be so annoying when they choose to be, because it's the whole you can't help it. Where ravens are watching always, and that's that mentality, and it's analytical, incredibly analytical. You look at a were raven, a raven, an octopus, and a cetacean. After primates are the most intelligent, sentient, sapient. And I'm using lots of words for different types of intelligence and functionality that cross over. Uh, that is going to be, you know, interesting. And yeah, compulsiveness is one of the great marks of a feline. Real that and the compulsions are weird. Chase the dot. I want to be in the box. The strange nesting. Height is good. You're going to see that in those, and you'll see similar traits in avians. Uh, we don't have to really imagine the traits of a half cat, half hawk creature. We have sphinxes. And remember, a lion is just a very big, very social cat. So you have a lion is a matriarchal uh, group mentality, much like wolves. So it's like a more matriarchal version of a wolf. Uh, but they're still cats. So all the compulsions, the stalking, the cruelty, this all weaves into that, and the compulsive cuddles. They can be very affectionate. Uh, but so a sphinx, when you're looking at a sphinx, which is a half hawk you're getting exactly that archetype. But that doesn't always work. Yeah, ravens. Well, they'll probably outlast us after we've done something stupid. But the trick with any lycanthrope is weapons that fit their weapons and training that overlap with their nature. So, a were avian is going to focus on ranged weapons. You know, why engage on the ground? That's stupid. If I have flight, I will use my flight and I will simply this is where you're going, that crossbow thing, depending on the avian, could be definitely potent. It may take some rigging. Again, support your local gnomes. I hate to tell you, Johnny, all the predators are more likely to go to your guts first. It's softest, it's easiest for them to take out. It is a slow death for you. With the big cats, they actually tend towards suffocation or throat rip out. They get the hold of the neck, and that's going to cut off the windpipe all the way back to our good buddy Smilodon, or it's going to actually blood choke you out to incapacitate you and go, unless they're training their young, and then you're in for a slow, painful death. But so shockingly, a werecat might really like a garrote. Okay, hands-on, tactile kill. I'm sorry, don't be stupid. Is that comes from my soul, you know? And yeah, uh, Archer, drop things. Um, strafe attacks. It's going to be hit and run, depending on wing strength and size, because you might get all rocky on things. Exactly. And that is how you support your local avian. You make them deployable bombs, or at least rocks, or something. Packets full of itching powder, ground up poison ivy in a handkerchief. Awesome. Foxes are sneaky. Foxes, they'll spar. Weasels are terrifying. Ferrets, weasels, all otters are aquatic weasels. That's horrifying. That's why the big otters beat the tar out of crocodilians in the Amazon. They're cute, they know it, and they know that they can, in numbers. So they roll. That's why I believe they're called the gang for a reason. So you're going to expect amphibious assault, short knives, long smiles out of your otter fighting crowds. Oh gosh, yes, foxes that scream in the dark. And I have ones that like come by, and yeah, exactly, rat bombs. So you're going to rats are terrifying. Were rats are horrific because they're sharp, they're cunning, and they're long game players. They're totally comfortable having to burrow through the walls and get you. They just keep coming. I'm going to cite that novel movie, The Killer Shrews. Yes, I've heard a mountain lion scream. While in the woods, foolishly tracking the mountain lion, about the moment I realized that tracking a mountain lion was a foolish thing to do. Exactly. Were rats. That's where the smarter the creature, the more problematic. Now it's interesting. Werebears are going to operate like a bear. They want to be left alone. They want to do their thing, and if not, they're going to ruin your day. And you're going to see that overlap. So a werebear is strong. Big targets. You want the armor, armored claws, uh, potential something. Yes, and I can see foxes being that, and that. God, um, if you get a chance, there is a book by the title of Coy Wolf. It was written actually by my wife, Amanda Talker, and it's available through Amazon. That is very getting into where a lot of this is. You really should look it up if you like this style of approach. It's the first in a series. I will tell her that everyone is bugging her to write the next one. Were dolphins? Absolutely. Were dolphins are pursuit predators. They are playful. They are also malicious and a bit stonery because dolphins have been known to play with pufferfish, which the toxin they are mostly immune to, and it just gets them a little high. But dolphins are incredibly pod based, and not necessarily. So uh, there is a great theory for what do we wish we were doing? Spending time playing in the water and fishing and hanging out near beaches. And what do dolphins do? Spend their time in the water hanging out near beaches. I just hate sharks. And so do they. Dolphins will F up sharks. For a were frog, you have to ask our good friend Frog G. But actually, frogs are again ambush predators. Oh, let's see. Where uh they they're territorial. They're amphibious, so they're going to be wanting to be around water. So their weapons are going to be probably amphibious weapons. This is where the trident becomes popular for a reason. Were human. But okay, it's funny that I've been waiting for somebody to. How far could a werefrog jump? A werefrog, assuming they're about 5 feet, with the equivalent would be about a 20. I'd say a 25-foot jump, assuming that they were of a bullfrog or regular green frog, with reach weapons as their tongue attack, which is adhesive and initiates a grapple in gaming terms. So yeah, they want to keep that accessible. So if a werefrog has a helmet, it's again no problem with that. It's only going to they want to keep their mouth openable during it. As for werehuman is has always been my great fear that I would uh you know get bit by one of my clients and then get achy and twist, go through all the pain, and just be myself on the other side, but hungry. And yeah, they would have bulls. Were rabbits, that gets to be a big. Are you talking a were rabbit or a were hare slash jackrabbit? Very different approaches. This is a were rabbit might be very timid because again we're looking at non-predator. Uh, Shy. They like large open fields, comfortable in small tight places. Um, you know, very affectionate and physically affectionate, shall we say? Where rabbits would probably make like their name. Where hippos are terrifying because these are oddly enough incredibly. These are the big alpha. Leave me alone, and I won't wreck your world. I might wreck your world anyway. Your existence is not leaving me alone, and then death. Believe it or not, where hippo would be more. So again, keeping in the weapon system, this is an aquatic, strength-based character. Their armor would need to be comfortable to swim and run in. Uh, where jackals shady. This is where you're getting mimicry because jackals alleged were jackals could mimic people, mimic the sounds of their voices, so to lure people out into the dark. Pack tactics, hunters, craven when faced with any viable threat. Uh, yes, hippos are terrifying. Sitting in the pool, mostly jumping out to scare them. Absolutely, it's got teeth like this. But yeah, but see, now you guys are flexing around, and that's good because think about what weapons would a frog might really like a harpoon even more than a trident because they think like their weapon of choice is ranged. They're thinking their tongue. So something that hooks and retracts a weaponized harpoon or grappling hook would make perfect sense for a were frog. Uh, where hippo is going to want a crushing weapon. They're going to be drawn to like giant mallets and short-handled hammers and those Colombian, the Hawaiian swords that are paddles with bits of shark teeth and stuff, or obsidian in different places. That style weapon. It's a word I probably can't pronounce it right now. Yeah, but see, that being said, think about that. If you're going to be any of these, and it's fun to contemplate, match your weapons. So going back, our dear friend the werefox. Let's go there. They do exist in literature, sort of. We're going to look at your kitsune or kitsune, depending on who you're talking to in enunciation. This is guile. This is cunning. Weapons, light claws, light teeth, fast attack. So you're looking at short swords, long knives, fast and go, not messing around, possibly sickles. Yeah. A were-toad is actually like a range-based hippo. Yep, sneaky daggers. Because foxes are the kings of the slip around and ankle bite. Because they don't fight fair. Poison toads, poison dart toads, things like that. That it's going to transfer over. They'd have a poison immunity. Their weapons would be poisoned. Don't lick the were. All hail the were toad. But wow, this has gone really weird. This is what happens when I try to run my show with a low grade fever. But we are we kind of derailed, but that's okay. Keeping flexible. Now, here's a neat trick. I use certain tropes as mechanics for analyzing people I know to sort of break down how they fight. So, if you want to know what works with you body wise, either pick a fantasy trope or an animal that you associate with and what would work with that mentality. Probably because you were a child of the 80s, Jody McPhee. And yeah, now I will tell you this. Were spiders are horrific. The spider women, and very often they take the form of women, whether they are or not, all about the trap, all about the soup. Horrific. Terrifying. If you can ever find it, there is a now non-canon book from the Star Wars Expanded Universe, uh, Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina. Oh my gosh! Find it, read it, and understand why the word soup is one of the most terrifying things in the Star Wars universe. But that's what I'm saying. So like I look for analogs as mental shortcuts for kind of referencing people's mentality and how they fight and what works for them. Now Foxy obviously identifies with what it means to be a fox. So though she's not a shapeshifter to the best of my knowledge, yeah. Uh See, Spider-Man usually functions much more jumping spider than orb weaver. Have you ever thought about that? Spider-Man does not function like a web weave spider, even though he's out casting webs. He's an aggressive hunting entity. So he's a jumping spider, wolf spider, something like that that gets out there. Orb weaving spiders are scared because they're all about the setup and the patience. So they're going to long ball. In life, they're business people, high end mafiosos. They or isolated billionaires. They want to be isolated away from the conflict. They want their tools in place. Everything is a tool to them to achieve getting them what they want, which is the soup. Okay, so we're good. Oh, Okay, sorry about that, guys. But yeah. So foxing, you realize you identify with foxes for good reason. You think that way. It appeals to you. So looking at what weapons might work with that might give you insight to what weapons you might be inclined with. If and it sounds stupid, but I've known people who are elves. Like they're not well, we'll put that over there. That's a different set of stories. Yeah, probably do really well in a government job. But they're long, they're lean. They look like Legolas running around. They're going to work well with a long, slender blade, long bows. They can't help falling in. Tradition is wrapping around them. Uh, Jim is a dwarf. James Robertson is a freaking. Oh, God. What is it? I had the class too. It's a dwarven defender. You give that man a shield and a sword or a hammer, and he is the wall, and the wall is good. And when he comes, it is the wall coming for you. That is Jim. Now, my buddy Steve, hi Steve, if you're still watching, he can get a little orcish on folks. He, for one thing, he hates elves. Like Steve is diametrically opposed, stylistically and personality, for elves. Okay, very much an uh, Owen Zatava Pratt Pratt Pitt Owen Pitt. Anyway, uh, but the that mentality is going, and I'm doing this whole exercise for the purpose of building the tropes in your mind and how to work on them, so that when you're analyzing your own style in the real world, you have these little shortcuts. I've known people who fight like drow. My buddy John Perkins is a drow. Love you, Perkins. Congratulations on being a extra in the movie and a few other things. He's not afraid to be sneaky. He's not afraid to be undercut. Dude can do stuff. Al. Al is probably I'd go half elf, not quite full elf, but there's a lot of elf tendencies there. Where piranhas are low, exactly. They are the incredibly mean spirited people who constantly look for trouble. So their weapons are going to be short, fast, aggressive, and probably a bit regional. So you're going to see karambits, you're going to see machetes, you're going to see bolo knives. Uh, the more together aggressive screama styles. Go 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 go. A piranha monk would love Wing Chun. Pow 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 pow. Fist for days. Seafood take food. Exactly. And when you realize, okay, this resonates with how I think, and everybody to an extent does it. And I'm not, I'm not, I'm gonna get some like, yo, you mean furries? Furries, I got some friends who are furries. Furries are fine. They take it to a level that maybe I don't, but I get where they're coming from. By walking this path and looking at it, going, I identify with this. You ask why and how to make, and then make it better. So lycanthropy, like the fantasy tropes, can be a smaller guy in trouble, go for a low blow, finish the threat fast as possible. Okay. If you're talking an animal, definitely you're screaming terrier. Um, I don't want to fight, but if I do, I'm gonna get over there. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get done. A more fan. So and people do not appreciate the glory of the terrier mindset. The little guy who comes in, uh, that style of going fast and hard sometimes has been very goblin-esque, but don't get confused. I'm talking historical folklore goblins, Not necessarily the D&D goblins. But yeah, terriers, if you get in trouble, you go in and go fast, and there's no holding back. That's terrier for days, and I respect that. I've had elements of that in my guys. Most of the time, I'm either a hobbit or something else. I'm laid back. I'd really rather not. I kind of have a big dog mentality. Well, medium dog, like a Labrador. Like, I got teeth, I can use them, but I'd really rather not. If I do, I'm taking care of people. But I'm too small to start fights and too big not to finish them, if that makes sense. Yeah, so there you go. So that's a good way, and don't be afraid to use these as, even if if it gives you truth and it's silly, it's not that silly. Right. But then once you have that frame and you realize that's your trope, you either choose and, if you're being a lycanthrope and hiding it, you work outside your trope, go counter to your nature to throw people off, or you double down on your trope. So when you're picking, like, a lot of it is people don't I don't tell people I tell people how fights work and how styles work. And I want them, being you guys, to find your fight. So there are some people who are going to be the elven great sword, long, knights in shining doing it stuff. There are going to be people who are in with ale knives and little daggers and little quick things. There's sword and board folks and knife folks, and find your fight. And don't let anybody tell you it's wrong. If it works for you and feels natural, do it. Don't So by doing that, and that's part of why, like I said, why we're looking at this. This is a mental exercise. I never do anything for just one reason. I believe talking about this, a lot of the people on this list are authors and creators. That means they will think twice and think more in depth when they write animal or lycanthropic characters. That means better reading. For the people who are trying to understand themselves, because what do you go? I want to learn to sword fight. Well, what's a sword? To you, it might be a katana, it might be a short sword, it might be a great sword, it might be, the gambit starts to break out, and it's a lot. You need ways to narrow down what works for you. And if you can look at it if you're educated, well, I like fighting, I love Spanish, so cup hilt rapiers, hand protection for days. But I also tend to be, I'm short, and I tend to fight closer in than I could, so that's where my Bilbao comes in. You know, big sword, big magic. Yeah, well, that's how you come across, DM. You come across like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it with extreme, measures, and devote yourself to that. And that's what you look for. So you want big magic. I can't give you magic usually. I'm not gonna say it doesn't exist. I'm not gonna say I don't have some opinions on the subject. It's just not really okay. That hopefully didn't transfer over, and if it did, it wasn't long enough to count. Uh, this is magic. You want to learn magic? Learn your physics. Learn learn your science, and apply it to what you do. Chemistry, small sort of sneaky magic. Exactly. So follow it. Snare and fall pit and noose. Uh, so don't be afraid to do that. Now we're about a minute from where I'm going to need to cut out pretty soon, because that was a metal arm for some of the new meds. Um, I'm going to try to do some videos as I'm feeling better. However, real time, I'm not sure what I'm going to use as the next supernatural entity and how to do it better. I think breaking down lycanthropy like we did was entertaining. I don't know if it was quite as focused, but Oh no, I have little use for the big hairy Dresden evocational magics. Uh, most problems can be solved with a catalog. Yeah, I have an infection and my lymph nodes are about this big across the back of my head like horns. It's really unpleasant. But I'm also going in to get some X-rays on my spine for my nerve damage. I finally got a doctor, and I'm letting you guys uh, know that if that affects things, I will do my absolute best to continue my assorted treatments and stuff and provide as good a content for you. I do apologize if any of what's coming down the pipe interferes. I'm kind of looking down some stuff I've been worried about for a long, long time. And that's a part of why I'm so big on, I serve people while I can, how I can. So we'll keep going. I'm okay. Just giving fair warning that stuff's coming down the pipe. Uh, let's see. Giants, scale your weapons to you, but don't feel like, oh, I have to swing a tree because you're giant. A giant can be a dexterous fencer. They're just bigger than you. Uh, I do have some other announcements while we're here. At the behest of my patrons, I have added 2 new tiers. I will be fleshing out the benefits. A $10 tier, which is basically people want to be a little more generous. I'm going to work out something custom, and a $50 tier. The $50 tier after completion of the first payment, because I've had people get the benefit and then not pay in the past. I will do a custom video for the individual of a style, weapon, whatever they want, and I will shoot them a secret link where only they can get at it, and then they'll get to decide what's done with it. And we're going down. I want to up my production value and transfer to doing more scripted slash stuff. This is not to cut out from my live streams. This is the highlight of my week after all. But I want to do more content, and because I've had people wanting to be more generous, I can't, in good logic, say no. So thank you for the Patreon members. Look into that. I've got some other goodies in the works as always. I will be, assuming I'm physically up to it this week, I want to do a proper breakdown review on this. And again, assuming I'm up to it, I may have to deal with that dreaded pumpkin menace. To look at the last comment that I see on that front, phantoms, ghosts, shades, and specters. We may talk about the tactics of being an undead, a non-corporeal, or semi-corporeal. That could be an interesting discussion. What I'll do? Patreon folks. Patreon folks, comment through Patreon to me what you want to see me talk about next time. Thank you, Foxy. Take your time. Saying take your time. Your health is more important than a couple of vids. Depending on what I may be facing, I'm assuming I can get over this whole infection thing. And the sort of physical therapies I'm looking at. I may do a big backlog if I'm up to it to buy myself some time while I either recover or adapt to lifestyle changes. This is nothing new. This is all stuff I've known has been potentially coming. I just finally got some medical professionals who will listen. So we're one day at a time, folks, doing the best I can. And if I end up in a little more rolly a chair than I'm in currently, I'll still be able to talk about what I know. I think I've at least laid enough bona fides that you guys respect my opinion, and I am honored and humbled to have that. So we'll see. I am hoping to crank out a whole lot more writing in the very near future as the temperature drops and my brain works better, both outside temperature and inside, because I am feverish as all get out. I'm also, follow me on nickt.deviantart or at ntalkert on Twitter. I'm doing the whole Inktober thing. So I'm up to October 7th. Yes, I know it's the 8th. I decided I needed to do some research. Further, coming down the pipe, I am looking to acquire a stunt style lightsaber just because people keep asking me to. So I will take your recommendations if any of you have encountered them on a good discount stunt saber, something to look forward to when I'm feeling better. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So outside of that, and I'm going to be very open and apprised, it's old spine injury, lower spine stuff. That's why why I've been having trouble walking, as I suspected. We're just gonna go find out where that is, and then carpal tunnel and other nervy stuff. So shots and therapy and maybe surgeries, yay! And we're gonna see. I've held off the wheelchair this long, uh, and that's why I tell you guys, if the best way to stay abreast with me is through Patreon. And I will tell you that if like social media gets too funny, I'll add like more public information on my Patreon because I want you guys to have access to what I have. And please remember that my books, I plug them, but I do honestly, when you look at the price, because there's color involved, this one is more expensive. But I felt it was necessary, even though it's very limited, to keep things easy to understand. And I'm going to do more in this format because everybody says they like the inexpensive black and white kind of quick reads. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. I am planning something on the other end of the spectrum that is hardcover. It's kind of a bucket list dream to have one of my manuals and some of my gaming materials in hardcover. Just has that this is real feel. So I'm planning a lot once I get through a series of real world financial things and real world health things. Thank you guys. Seriously, I get DMs from you thanking me, and you don't know what it means to know I'm still of value and I'm of use to people. Because that's what I want. I just want to do a little good, and I hope that bare minimum you enjoy these evenings we share together, and hopefully you are educated by them. I've got if you like this more RPG content, let me know that too because I want to keep that in the loop. And I might be doing something here again, hopefully on my other channel, the Nicholas Talker channel, where my art and stuff it's very neglected. I may be doing some stuff there too. I'm sorry, my voice is cutting out. So what I'm gonna say is thank you so much. I love you guys. Be good to yourselves. Keep your guard up. Oh yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that business. And oh, before I go, Johnny, Lord Cage is getting an upgrade. Trust me. But I I hope you guys enjoy it. I will see you. Be good, kind to yourselves and each other, and as always, support your local sword master.